Well, hello, and welcome. I'm Dr. Kisha Pickford, a nurse practitioner and hormone informed metabolic and weight loss strategist. And I'm also the founder of Ample Health and Wellness. Today, I'm going to be doing a short talk. I may look down from time to time. I do have some notes. So, whether you're here watching live or you're catching the replay, today we're talking about why weight loss and staying well after 40 feels a little different. And let's be honest, have you ever felt like the same body that used to respond in 2 weeks now needs a whole committee meeting, a permission slip, or maybe a board vote before it cooperates? If that sounds familiar, this conversation is for you. Today is not about blaming yourself. It's not about blaming your body. It's not about starting another extreme plan. It is about understanding what may be changing in this season. Metabolism, hormones, muscle, stress, sleep, cravings, habits, and learning how to support your body differently. But before we jump in, let me briefly introduce myself. I've spent over 25 years in healthcare, mostly in emergency and acute care medicine. I'm a certified holistic nutrition weight loss coach, and through Ample Health and Wellness, I help women over 40 better understand weight, metabolism, hormones, habits, and whole person wellness in a practical, real life way. I'm also someone who has been on a wellness and weight loss journey for the last few years. So I don't teach from a place of perfection. I teach from both clinical reasoning and lived experience. So grab your coffee, water, your notebook, or just listen in while you're doing whatever you're doing. And let's talk about what changes after 40 and what may work better now. Now, what women need to notice first. One of the first things I want to say is this: you are probably not imagining things or imagining it. Many women reach their 40s, 50s, and beyond, and they start noticing that their body just operates differently. Maybe weight settles around the midsection more easily. Maybe your energy does not bounce back the way it used to. Or maybe sleep is lighter, it's more interrupted, and you don't really feel refreshed after sleeping. Maybe your cravings are louder, especially for sugar, salt, crunchy things, or anything that feels like comfort food. Maybe stress lands a little bit differently. What used to you could shake off in an hour, it now can sit with you all day, sometimes weeks. And maybe the most frustrating part is this: the strategies that used to work just don't work the same way anymore. If you're watching live, you can type one word in the chat. What feels like has changed after you hit 40 or when you hit 40? What felt like it changed? Was it your weight? Was it sleep? Was it mood? Was it energy? Was it cravings? Was it your belly fat? Was it stress tolerance? If you're watching the replay, you can just put it in the comments, because most of these changes are connected. They are not random, they are actually clues. And that is the really heart of today's conversation, is that your body is always giving you information. The goal is to learn how to listen without panic, without punishment, without shame. So it's not just about calories, though. Let's talk about one of the biggest mindset shifts we need to have as women over 40, and we need to understand this. After 40, weight and wellness are not just a calories in, calories out conversation. Now, calories do matter. Yes, they absolutely do. But I am not saying that they don't matter, but they are just not the whole conversation anymore. Your body is also responding to other things such as metabolism, muscle mass, hormones, blood sugar, stress, sleep, medications, emotional patterns, and daily habits. So when a woman tells me I'm eating less, and I'm still not losing weight, I don't just say, well, eat even less. I get curious. I start to ask questions. Questions such as, is she getting enough protein? Is she losing muscle? Is she sleeping well? Is stress running the show? Is her blood sugar swinging all day long? Is she under eating during the week? And then by the weekend or Saturday night, she's raiding the pantry. Or is she skipping meals all day and then wondering why her cravings are screaming by the evening? Calories matter, but after 40, they are not the whole story. We need the fuller picture. And I think this is where many women feel frustrated. They are told, just eat less and move more. But nobody asks what season of life they're in. What stress are they carrying? How are you sleeping? What hormones are you dealing with? What your labs look like, or whether the plan is even realistic or doable. After 40, the conversation needs to matter. So, why does this happen? Why can the same body that used to respond quickly now feel slower, more stubborn, and more complicated? There are several reasons. First, there's perimenopause and menopause. They can bring about real life hormone shifts. Changing estrogen and progesterone levels or patterns can affect your sleep, your mood, your body temperature, your cravings, and where the body tends to store fat. And this does not mean everything is hormonal or everything is related to hormones, but it also means that we can't pretend that hormones don't matter. Second, muscle matters. As long as we move through midlife, muscle mass can naturally decline if we are not actively protecting it. And muscle is not just about looking toned or looking good. Muscle supports our metabolism, our blood sugar, our strength, our balance, and long term independence. So after 40, we can not only think about burning calories, we also have to think about protecting our muscle. Third, insulin sensitivity can shift. And what that means is that the body may become more sensitive to certain food patterns, skipped meals, stress, poor sleep, and blood sugar swings. Fourth, stress recovery can change. You may still be able to do everything you used to do, but it just may cost you a little bit more to do it. Long shifts, caregiving, family responsibilities, work stress, emotional stress, and poor sleep, they all add up. And fifth, sleep changes can ripple into everything. Poor sleep can affect our hunger, our cravings, our mood, blood sugar, energy, and your motivation. And when you're tired, your brain usually does not crave salmon and broccoli. It wants quick energy. So it wants the sweet, it wants the salty, the crunchy, and the comforting foods. So when your body starts responding differently, that does not mean that you failed. It may mean your body needs a new strategy for a new season. Your body is not broken. It may just need a different type of support, a new strategy. So, why are the old strategies. Why do they stop working? So let's talk about that old playbook. Many of us were raised on things like skip meals, eat less, cut everything out, do more cardio, push harder, and just have more willpower. But maybe all of that worked for us for some time and for a while. But after 40, some of those old strategies, they just stop working. And they actually can work against us. Skipping meals can backfire into stronger cravings later. Over restricting can leave you tired, deprived, and a little unhinged by dinner. Cardio only workouts, well, they may not protect the muscle that we need for our metabolism. And starting over every Monday keeps you in the same cycle of guilt, restart, restriction, burnout, and frustration. And ignoring sleep and stress, well, that can sabotage your progress altogether, even when your food is technically good. So, here is the lighthearted truth I like to say: your 25-year-old diet plan does not need a comeback tour. It may have worked beautifully in a different season of your life, but that does not mean it is the right strategy for the body and the life that you have right now. After 40, we want a plan that is supportive, that's realistic and repeatable, not extreme, not perfect, just repeatable, because life is going to keep lifing. So, what works better now? So, what actually helps us after 40? A smarter midlife wellness strategy is supportive and not punishing. Protein matters because it helps protect muscle, it helps keeps us full, supports fullness, and it gives your body steady fuel. Fiber matters because it also helps with digestion, blood sugar, fullness, cholesterol, gut health, and those cravings. Strength training matters because muscle supports our metabolism. It helps our blood sugar. It helps keeps us balanced and it helps with long-term health. Walking matters. A simple walk after a meal can support blood sugar, digestion, mood, circulation, and consistency. Sleep matters because your body needs rest, it needs recovery. Sleep is not just something you do when everything is finished. It needs to be part of a health plan and it really needs to be factored into your life. Stress support matters because your nervous system is very much part of this conversation. Stress can affect how our cravings go, our blood pressure, emotional eating, belly weight, and consistency. And consistency matters more than perfection. Most women don't need an extreme 21-day plan. Most of us need a plan that can actually be repeated on a random Tuesday when life is the busiest and we're tired and everybody still wants dinner and everything from us. We need a plan that can still work. And after 40, the goal is not to punish ourselves or into cooperation. The goal is to support our bodies so it can work with us. So that brings me to the fresh check in. I want to give you a simple way to think about how fresh framework, which is my framework I made through Ample Health and Wellness to help women look at the whole picture. So, FRESH is an acronym, and we'll start with the letter F, which F is for food freedom and foundations. Instead of only asking, did I eat less? Ask yourself, am I nourished? Am I getting protein? Am I getting fiber? Am I eating in a way that supports my energy and my blood sugar? Letter R stands for rewire your mindset. Ask yourself, am I blaming myself? Am I stuck in shame? Am I telling myself I failed because my body changed? Shame does not build sustainability. Understanding does. Letter E is habits. Ask yourself, what is one small habit I can actually repeat? Not what I can do perfectly for 3 or 5 days. What can I repeat in real life and maybe for life? Letter S is for simplify your environment. Ask yourself, how can I make things easier? Can I prep one simple protein? Can I keep water nearby? Can I put my walking shoes somewhere where I can see them and it alerts me to do that short walk? Can I make my bedtime routine a little less chaotic? And H, well, it's for honoring your whole health. And here we're going to ask, what does my body need in this season? What does my body need right now? Maybe it needs sleep. Maybe it needs strength. Maybe it needs a medical. Maybe it needs less stress or support for stress. Maybe it needs less self criticism and more compassion. Earlier, I asked what change you noticed after 40. What was the first change you noticed? And maybe your word was weight, sleep, mood, cravings, belly fat, or energy. Well, this is where that fresh check in helps and helps you to connect the dots. Instead of saying, I just need more willpower, you can ask better questions like, what part of my wellness needs support right now? What can I do this week that actually moves that needle more towards sustainability? This is how we begin to get sustainability, not by changing everything all at once or to find the next right area to support. So here's a reflection moment for you. I need or I would like for you just to take a brief moment to reflect. You do not have to write this down if you are driving or you're doing something else. But if you have a notebook nearby, that would be fine to jot this down and ask yourself these questions. What is one change that I have noticed after 40? What is one area of my body that seems to be asking me for support? And what is one small take this week? And keep that step realistic. Not impressive, nothing perfect, just a realistic step. Your small step might be drinking more water, adding protein at breakfast, taking a 10-minute walk after dinner, creating an actual bedtime routine, scheduling a checkup, or checking your blood pressure, reviewing your latest blood work or labs, or simply calling a truce with the all or nothing cycle because you are not starting over anymore. You are learning how to listen differently and respond with support instead of punishment. So, here are some quick questions I have for you. Or better yet, here are some questions women often ask. So, is this all menopause? Menopause can play a role, but it is usually not the whole story. Sleep, stress, muscle loss, blood sugar, food patterns, medications, and daily habits, they all contribute. And that is why we want to look at the whole picture and not just one part, such as menopause. Another question that may be asked quite often is, do I need to eat less? Not always. Calories do matter, but and some women may need a calorie deficit for weight loss, but many women are under fueling earlier in the day and then struggling with cravings later. And after 40, we want to think about nourishment, protein, fiber, healthy fats. You want your blood sugar balance and you want consistency and not just eating less. Another question that's often asked is walking enough? Walking is a great starting point. It supports our blood sugar, it makes us consistent, it helps our mood, it helps our circulation, it helps our blood sugar. But after 40, strength training also becomes important because muscle supports metabolism, the blood sugar balance, long-term independence. So you'll be able to walk up those steps or support yourself when possibly a trip may happen so you won't fall. So muscle becomes very important after 40. Another question that happens or that occurs a lot is, what if I'm not trying to lose weight and I just want to be well? Well, that counts too. Staying well after 40, it means protecting your muscle. It means improving your energy, getting better sleep, managing your stress, supporting your blood pressure and your blood sugar, and building habits that help you feel strong and steady and not fatigued and tired all the time. Another question is it too late to change my health after 40, after 50 or 60? And absolutely not. It is not too late. It may require a different strategy or a different approach, but it's never too late. Small, consistent changes can still support your energy, your strength, your blood pressure, your blood sugar, mobility, your confidence, and your long term wellness. And with that, I would like to close. I want you to remember that you are not starting over. You are learning how to support your body in a new season. And if this conversation helped you, I would love you to stay connected with Ample Health and Wellness. I host monthly virtual Ample Midlife Wellness Talks for women over 40, where we talk about weight, metabolism, hormones, stress, sleep habits, and the whole person wellness in a practical, real life way. And you can also join my newsletter. It's a weekly newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays. You can explore my book, The Wait is Over, or you can learn more about my root cause weight loss and wellness audit. And all of this is found at amplehealthandwellness.com. And of course, this conversation is for general education only. It does not replace individualized medical care, diagnosis, treatment, or medical guidance. And please follow up with your own healthcare provider for your personal medical questions, labs, medications, and care decisions. Well, thank you for spending this time with me today. And I'd like for you all to remember that your health is not a secret, it's your story. So please own it. Until I see you next time, thank you for watching and being here. Bye.